Welcome, everyone, to the session today. Let's begin with observing a little silence. So, we observe silence for 30 seconds approximately. Okay. Yes. So, Budya ji had some burning question yesterday. So, let's begin with that. Would you like to state your question, Vidya ji?
My question was in relations. Um, I I recall it going to my yoga class in when I was learning that. And over here, as we all know, the ratio of divorces are much common here in US than in India.
Mhm.
And there was a conversation that I still remember when we were talking about um, someone brought it up that how it's hard to get out of a toxic relationship if there's abuse, physical or even verbal. The person, I understood when you sent the answer, they when they have different reasons they can't get out. But even when people are sometimes on their own feet and they don't have any dependency, they have a choice to get out, and this is why they are able to get out over here. And the only thing is, I was beginning my journey at that time. So there was an ego inside me that rise up and then say, talking to myself, you know what? It's more about um, more compromises in working on your karmic accounts as well. So how do we separate ourselves from relationships, making the right choice that it's better for me to get out, and rather than staying in there, instead of taking support of karmic, नहीं मुझे ये है ना क्या खत्म करना है, मुझे निभाने दो, खत्म करने दो, पूरा चुकता कर लूं. So at that time I was very much caught up into that, and now when I
Mm.
think about it, it's shifted because a
Correct.
friend through that same scenario, and when it happens close to home, you look at the situation differently. And now I look at it, it's not about that being in the toxic relationship and taking the abuse and making yourself even a little bit shifting yourself away and looking at it. It's hard because you're in that situation objectively. But there is a time where you do need to stand up for the right and wrong. And that's where the Gita thing appeared in front of me. That he had a whole thing is based upon that. What is about right and rightful and what's not rightful. It's not
Mm.
about taking care, they're fighting with me because that's my karmic thing coming up. But no, it's there's a choice you have to make sometimes. And you
Mm.
have to use that um, according to whichever place that person is, they will make that choice. So it's been always very complicated for me to understand it in a way that um, it's always a clarity to me, because I always go back and forth, like where do you draw the line. And then even like when there is in relations, when you know two people equally and they're going through this rough time, and how do you make a choice who's right and who's wrong? It's hard.
Mm. Okay. So, let's start with understanding karma a little
Yes.
before we, because that looks to be the central point. Uh, yeah, Ashwin, it's okay if you do not turn on the video. It's that looks to be the central point around which everything is revolving, and it looks like the karmic principle is being made the scapegoat of not taking the action on and not allowing the right action happen. And so everything is being brushed inside the carpet, and everybody is bearing whatever is happening. It's of course not healthy to anyone who is into it. What is karma? Typically, people associate it with the actions that we have, but if you will be a little mindful, more conscious, you would understand that karma goes to the level of what are we thinking. Our thoughts are our first karma that we get to know. Normally, we do not associate our thoughts with karma, but this is how it is. So, one reason why possibly the yogis who get into those high levels of samadhi and those kind of states, they say that they are thoughtless because they are out of all those karmic accounting. So I do not know as of now what thoughtless is. At times there could be scratch of second that I would have experienced it maybe, but that's very low. But yes, I definitely experience a state wherein even though thoughts come in, I do not get distracted. My centeredness doesn't get. Now it's been after a lot of hard work that state has come. It did not come to me so easily. Otherwise, a little bit of thing and the triggers are all there to start working. So the very thought even that's happening is a karma. Now, this is a very funny thing, and I say this all the time. People say that everything that you do will produce some result. So everything that you do, even what you think, is producing some karmic account. Good or bad, I'm not at all questioning that. Right now, I'm not into good and bad zone. But it is creating a karmic account. So this chain of creating new account, so you exhaust the past one and you create the new one, and every moment we are creating a new one. So that continues. How do we break the chain? So even if I die with a good karmic account, I still will have to come out to exhaust that good karmic account, if it can be called as good karmic account. Again, cautioning that it's not about labeling them as good or bad, but the karmic account remains. So how do I get out of that karmic account? So this circle keeps working, operating. So then one has to do something when you simply jump out of that account, jump out of that game, and you say, hey, this karma game is no more for me, no more applied onto me. I'm out of this game. That is the only way that you can get out of the karmic game. Now, how do I do that then? So when you are a small child, and each one of us would remember something as children wherein we did something mischievous or something that hurt somebody, things like that. And now that we are grown up, we are in certain age, do we still associate ours to being the person who did that mischievous thing or hurtful thing or things like that? Do we still associate ourselves to that? Say, for example, when you were a child, you had slapped of your father. Do you still regret that I slapped my father? How could I? Would you still regret? No. Why?
Because you were a child, you didn't know any better.
Because you do not identify by being the same 5-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old child now. You say that 8-year-old child, 5-year-old child, he was very limited in its understanding, was not conscious enough, did not know what to do, what not to do. So in that kind of immature mind, certain actions happened. Now I am no more that immature person. So you laugh out of that. I said, yeah, as a child, a lot of such things I did. So what? Isn't it? The burden of doing all those in the childhood is no more now. Yeah, that burden is no more there. We do not say that we are the people who did that then. But now, even if 5 years ago, had I done something which hurt somebody or some decision I took that has backfired, that has not proven well, or I said something to the child which has created some kind of huge impact in the child, or to the spouse, or to the parents, or whosoever. Even now, 5 years later, that rings in the mind wherein I say, shit, why did I do that? To an extent, we even go back 20 years, 15 years ago and say, I don't know why the hell did I get married to this person? So, what is happening in the process is the child has grown and is no more identifying with the same. But this person is those 15 years, 5 years, 20 years has not grown enough to not identify with this person who was 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You're getting the point? So Richa today and Richa minus 5, they are still the same. And that is why Richa, whatever she did, Richa, when she was Richa minus 5, she still bears the burden of doing that. Is this complicated or clear?
It's clear.
It's clear? Now, who is this Richa who is bearing this whole burden of whatever she did 5 years ago, 10 years ago? This doer exactly is called the Karta. The Karta bhav that we talk of, the I amness that we talk of, doingness that we talk of, this exactly is the whole identity that works like that. So Richa, when she was 5 years old, she does not identify with it. She has outgrown that, and hence she does not take the responsibility of all that she did when she was 5 years old. But Richa, when she was 30, whatever she did, she still takes responsibility, which means Richa is still 30-year-old as well. She
You
has
mean to
not.
say lack of knowledge?
No, it's not knowledge. It's have you ripened enough, matured enough to understand that when you did something when you were 30, you did in that limited understanding, in that limited consciousness that you were part of. And now that you have evolved, you have expanded, that must be left behind. And if you are not able to leave that behind, please know you have not evolved at all. You are
Involvement is with the knowledge only, na? It goes back. If you have knowledge of all
what
that
is knowledge,
things.
Komalji? How do you define
Knowledge
knowledge?
means knowledge of the fact that who you are, knowledge who you are in reality. You are not. You are identifying as mother, as daughter, as this, and this. You are limiting yourself. If you are not that, you are something else. So if you have knowledge of that fact of the real thing, then you get evolved a little, and then you don't identify, and then you are not suffering.
I don't know if you should be calling this knowledge. Knowledge is not an appropriate word to be used for this thing. This is called wisdom. This is the
Right.
difference.
Right,
This is
you
the
can
difference.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the difference. Knowledge is something, so much of knowledge is available on Google. All that is knowledge stuff. All that you
Right.
teach in schools is knowledge.
Right. Outer
There is
and
no
inner, you
wisdom.
can say outer knowledge and inner knowledge or something.
The moment it is about evolution of the self, the small self, ego self, the moment it is about that, then you are moving to the zone of wisdom. And wisdom only happens when you can see that in action. If at all you think I have wisdom and you are not seeing that happening in your life, please know you have no wisdom, you only have knowledge. Knowledge is I know all that. Wisdom is when it becomes
Practical
part
and
of you.
applicable, and you
When
are
it becomes part of you, when it becomes your DNA, when it becomes your being, when you are that, then it is wisdom. Okay.
awareness.
So yeah, so it's see what word works for you. See what word works for you. So identifying still with that 30-year-old Richa, and hence agreeing to whatever Richa's 30-year-old did, will ensure that she will still bear the pain and the suffering of those events that happened then. She will still regret, she will still feel guilty, she will still blame herself, and all those things will happen because she is still identified to that Richa of 30-year-old. The karta, the doer, has not changed. My mentor says, my master says a very beautiful thing. He says,
Someone rang the bell. I think laundry wala kapde le.
he says, कर्म फल मिलता नहीं है, कर्म फल ग्रहण किया जाता है. You do not get the result of the actions. You actually go and stand and give me the result of the action. Because any act that has happened, the consequence will be there, no? If I have fired a gun, it will go and hit somebody. How do I unburden myself from the act of firing a gun? By simply stepping out of the zone of the karta, that I did that. Simply understanding that happened with that limited knowledge. So when the consequence will come to me, the body will go through the consequence. So even if I'm jailed, the body will go to the jail. But will I also be jailed? No. This is what is about staying free, even in shackles.
You will be still liberated.
Yes, because you are liberated out of that particular action. You have allowed yourself to get liberated out of that particular action. So the consequence will happen as per the laws of nature. The nature is operating, so that will happen. But will you suffer that? No, you will not suffer that. So there is a saying that pain is inevitable, suffering is not. Pain and suffering are not the same thing. Pain is, yes, if I fall, my leg is fractured or hurt, it will pain. But the moment I say, oh my God, my leg, I fell and it is paining so bad, now I'm allowing suffering to come on me. But if I can stay conscious to say, yes, this leg hurts. This leg hurts. I know. Then you will do all that is needed for the wound to get healed, and you will not be in that victim mode, in that crybaby mode, to feel all the pain and sit there and do the bhajan of pain, and hence allowing the suffering to come on to you. And there are people who do this very strongly. You see them having a fracture and the entire community of theirs will get to know. Everybody will receive a phone call. I fell down. This will happen. So suffering is something that we choose to go through. Pain is something that we have no control upon. Pain is an existential act that has happened. So it's a result of the laws of nature. But suffering is when the ego gets in between and agrees to take that result of the suffering. So now coming back to the relationship, every thought of mine is creating karma, and I say I have certain karma with this person, and until I finish off my karmic account, I cannot go out. How do you finish off the karmic account? If you stay in that relationship and you identify with that relationship, and this person triggers things in you. So till that those triggering are happening inside yourself, the law of karma is operating. If you want to really get out of karma, you have to come to a state, as my Reiki master says, and we had been working upon it. You have to come to a state wherein you can treat this person as an individual in the cosmos and not as somebody in your life. So despite the fact that you stay together, he is just a person in the cosmos. For some reason, you two are together, but in no way this person is able to trigger anything in you. So you are not reacting. The response arises and you give that. You stay calm and you are always centered. So this person does not impact you in any way. When you come to this state, that you become so very neutral to this person, then the karma stuff with the person starts to close.
So what are the ways and means to reach that state? There are various, I know. We all know.
That
but,
I'll do one-to-one with you, you know.
Okay.
I think I need to start charging you, Kawalji.
Yeah, please carry on.
Okay, jokes apart. Yeah. So of course it's a process, and that demands that you are very conscious of your every action. At times it takes years, at times it takes months, at times it takes days, depending upon how ready you are. Because then you also will have to remember that the stakes that you have there, those also you will have to allow to go. You will have to let go them. So there are people who stay in relationship because of financial reasons. There are people who choose to stay in the relationship because of the societal reason, that I do not like saying to the people around that I am out of this, and how will people think of me, and how will they talk of me. There are people who will take names of their children, that I'm into this because of my children. I don't want to make them feel insecure and blah blah. But these are all scapegoats. The moment you are ready, then things will happen. And existence has one beautiful way of making things happen. But are you ready is a question. So in EFT, they call it the benefit that you are taking by staying in that relationship, or staying in that situation, or whatever it is. If you are stuck anywhere, you are stuck because there is a complementary benefit that you are deriving. And that exactly in the language of spirituality, we say that you are deriving some pleasure, some benefit out of it. So the law of duality is operational. You are going through the pain, but if you are going through the pain, it is impossible that the pleasure is not there around. You definitely are deriving some pleasure out of that. And the moment you become aware of that pleasure, and that will demand silent space, introspection, that will demand to check what is triggering, what behavior triggers what kind of reaction. So initially it would be a conscious holding of the reaction, that even if the reaction comes, I do not express it. And then there are methodologies that allow you to clean your inside. So ways of doing so Vedanta will not talk of all that. Vedanta will say that if you really know that it is harming you, you will be out of it. But then there are people, but then this really know does not happen for most of us. We know that it is hampering, we know that it is hurting, but really, if it is really hurting you, then you know that it is a question of life and death. How the hell are you living in that? That is what is meant by really knowing. It's like I get angry, and I get then allow myself to get so angry that I get converted into anger. I'm all red, I'm burning. And the moment I have experienced that burning, I know what anger does to me. And then becoming angry again is impossible. So I think in the last session or in some other session, I was talking about Gurdjieff's methodologies of letting go of habits. So he had some very interesting ways of doing it. So if somebody would come to him that I want to leave cigarette, yes, you want to leave cigarette? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Are you really sure? I'm sure. Then you'll have to stay with me for 7 days. I said, okay. And this person will take him to a room, will shut him there, and will give him loads of cigarette packets. I said, go and smoke. Hey, go and smoke. Then one after the other, one puff, second puff, third puff, fourth, and go on, go on. And then after 2-3 packets, this person, I can't smoke anymore. No, 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 you smoke. You have to smoke. You love smoking. You smoke, and he'll push the person to smoke and smoke and smoke. And now this person can't take it anymore. The entire experience becomes so terrible that now smoking gets associated with that terrible feeling. The pleasure is gone. So you have smoked to such an extent that you have got converted into smoke, and then you see what is the smoke doing to you. And then the habit goes on. I remember in our batch there used to be a lady who used to smoke, and it so happened that once in the space, that facility wherein we used to sit for the sessions, there was fire at night. And in the next session that we had, she was sharing that, sir, I have tried to leave smoking so many times, and I have been so unsuccessful. The last fire, it did something in me. I saw the laptop. It had not caught the fire. The fire had been put off by the time it could have reached the laptop. And laptop was burnt. It was black. It was almost in ashes. And I was like, oh my God, if this smoke can do this to the laptop, what it is doing to me? And since then, I'm not able to smoke. So for us, we do not get into the experience totally. And that's why the Upanishad way of catharsis does not happen with us. And so we latch onto a lot of methodologies to let go. So you do so many exercises, and they do help. I'm not at all refuting that they don't. They do. So whichever way, but then the first one, the Upanishad way, is like khatak. It just happens. It's like Arya Par, this side or that side. The other way is कभी मैं कर रही हूँ, मैं कब करूँगी पता नहीं. So many times for a lot of people, they actually became the scapegoat. अरे मैं कर रही हूँ ना, हो नहीं रहा तो मैं क्या करूँ? हो नहीं रहा क्योंकि तुम होने नहीं दे रहे हो. Get out of your own way. And you are every time thinking inside. That's why it is not happening. So when one works upon themselves, you come to a state wherein it's like a passerby goes onto the road and abuses you. Do you really turn back and abuse the person back, or you simply say, I don't know why it's saying so, and you just go on? What do? Do you stop the person, catch up the collar and say, hey, how dare you abuse me? What do you know about me? I am blah, blah, blah. Do you do that? You simply say, pagal ho gaya yaar. I don't know what's happened to him. And you go on your way. Because there is no identification there. So there is no trigger. There is no reaction. But imagine you were a mantri. You are some minister or some person in some prestigious position. And then somebody abuses you. And then what happens? Especially if you are a public figure. Don't you know me? Who am I? Then there is involvement. Then the karma is happening even with that third, fourth, fifth, sixth person. But otherwise, for us, it's easy to not allow that to penetrate within us. But when it comes to those people who are around us, with whom we are spending our 24 hours, that penetrates immediately. Because we stay in a give and take relationship. For us, relationship is give and take. Every giving is asking some taking. And if the person questions or is nasty in some way, we take it as something wherein our identity has been questioned, our worth has been questioned, and we live in the world of validation. So our validation has been broken. We are no more being validated. And so it hurts. And so it hurts. And that's why we are not able to move out of such situations. Every reason that we give that looks very practical, that looks very reasonable, but that all stands beneath this problem of my association, my deriving benefit, my deriving pleasure in some way. I may not be conscious of what pleasure I'm deriving. I may not be conscious of what comfort I'm generating staying there, but without that, staying there is impossible. Yes. So yes, it does create a toxic environment. And then maybe everybody who was there in that environment are supposed to move out of that by experiencing that. That's their own learning curve in life. Maybe, I don't know, how should I put it across? So if children are exposed to that, yeah, Vidya.
I needed to just speak it out how I understand the karma when you're done. So correct me if I'm wrong when you're done.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to start? So the way I am thinking about it, not thinking about it, my understanding that I believe is we have first the Sanchit karma. We are coming from whatever we accumulated, that's where I am, from the Sanchit. Then that's what decides where I'm going, what it presents me, my product, the outcome of it, the effect of my karma. That's what my product is going to be. So when my product shows up, what I understood before I spoke to you this time, when the situations and things happen, what I decide in that situation, that place is called Kriyamani, which is still gonna take me back again to Sanchit. But this is the place where I can shift. But now my understanding is more clear. The whatever way I act upon, I have to take myself away as a doer and look at it from the place of neutrality and then go forth with the action rather than being a reactor. I have to be responsive towards it. Taking myself away from my emotions and making decision or acting upon that. This is where I release more and create less karma. Did I get it correct?
Absolutely. You see, this entire game of karma is very complicated. So if we would try to resolve it by understanding the entire theory, we will be lost. The bottom line is, who is karma for? Karma is for the one who has done the action. Who has done the action? It is some identity, and hence it is the ego. The moment that ego is dissolved, then the action remains, the actor has gone off, and hence the consequence of the action will be there, but there will be no action or karma phal to be taken. I remember one of the video I was listening, and there was this Swamiji was saying that this Swamiji was asked, Swamiji, how are you? So he said, I am perfectly fine, it's all good. And then the person says, oh, I came to know that you were experiencing a lot of pain in your back yesterday. Oh, the body, it is terrible. Don't even ask me. Since last 2 days, the body is in terrible state. So you see the amount of distancing that has happened, that it's okay, the body is like that. But does that make me miserable? No, that has no capability to make me miserable. It is about how do I identify it. And that's where a lot of unburdening start to happen. That's where we start becoming free, more liberated, and easygoing. It's okay, this has happened. Why the hell am I carrying it? And we all have heard that Zen story, wherein the disciples were strictly prohibited to come close to females. And it so happened that they had come close to a river, which they saw a female standing there trying to go to the other side and not able to figure out how. And then the master said, "Can I help you?" And she agreed, and he took the female on his shoulders and crossed the river. Now the disciples were very, very angry. We have been asked not to even come close to a female. You touched it. You took the female over on your shoulder and crossed. This was playing in their mind, bombarding in their minds. After they crossed the river, the female was put down. She thanked and she went off, and they moved ahead. And these two disciples who were with him, they were burning inside. So after going a little forward, the master sensed, and so he asked, "What's wrong?" And they could not hold it in themselves. They said, "We are very sorry to say it, but we're feeling very terrible. Why did you do this when we are not supposed to touch females even?" And the master said, "Oh, you're still carrying that female? I left her there. It is only for this reason that the disciples are not allowed to touch females, because they are not evolved enough not to carry it even after they have left them physically. So this carries. It's all in the mind." So this unburdening has to happen. The action happen, move on. For us, this moving on does not happen. Oh shit, I did that. Oh shit, I did that. Oh my God, I missed doing that. Oh my God, I planned for 5 things and I could only do 3 things, So even if you're looking at, I could do 3 things. Okay, so how do I ensure that the next time I do not, miss these 2 things? Then there is a conscious looking at it, not with the sense of attachment. So that is fine. That in your life you would need to do for some project. Maybe you have missed 2 things. You will go back but the moment you start saying, I have made such a great mistake. These 2 things were missed by me. My boss is going to kill me, and this is going to hamper the project. This will increase my timeline for 1 more week. Now the project will not finish on deadline, and so many thousands of things. Now you are gone. Now you've created a whole lot of karmic impact. Even if you would not have spoken about all these things, and all these are ringing in your mind, but lot of karmic stuff. But the moment you allowed saying that, okay, these 2 are missed, now let me see how do I take care of them, move ahead. So it's not that you will not be questioned. Yeah, it's not that you will not be questioned that how did you miss these 2 things. These 2 were important. You should have taken care of these. How did you miss? You will have your reasons also, but it will not be penetrating. I am being asked, I am being questioned. As if, come on यार, एक project ही तो है, 2 चीजें तो मिस हो गई हैं. Question का आंसर दे दो ना, आगे बढ़ो. पर वो होता नहीं है ना.
So like just finishing in the mind can nullify the karma. I mean, this is what it is.
Your karmic account it will nullify, because you only are nullifying. For the karmic account to be there, it has to be somebody's account. No. So in accounting, when we write in the books of accounts of ABC Limited, these are the profits, these are the loss.
Holds it. What
So
about
it is
the other
their
person?
problem, no? It is their problem.
So it's there. So then there is no entanglement.
No, there is no entanglement.
So if I cut the cord, it's over. Like from
it's over. It's over.
It's over.
It's absolutely over. But me cutting the cord is
cutting the cord here, especially, right?
Yes, Ashwini, you want to say something?
My question, Richa, is that then what about accountability? Because, you know, from what you're saying, it almost feels as though I can do anything I want as long as I move on from it and do not leave any energy attached to it. I will have no consequence of it, and that somehow seems somehow seems problematic in the kind of world that we live in. Because, you know, you see so many people in power who have a tendency to misuse the power exactly like this. You know, and have very little thought for people who do not live the same, do not possibly have the same privileges that come with power. So then it seems to me that only the person who is powerless is forced to stay behind and bear the consequences, or be accountable to his actions. Whereas the people who have the power, they have the facility to move on. I'm not just talking about mentally and emotionally, but the money and position gives them the ability to move on, you know, which the small man does not have. So how do I reconcile this, you know, in sense of the world that we live in right now?
Great. Okay. So where did we start with? What is karma? Karma starts with the very thought. So these people who, because of no accountability, are able to get away with things, don't they have those intentions to really do those things? Do they do all those things without intentions? They don't. And hence the karmic repercussions comes to them. Now, I never said that any action that is done, it will not have consequence. It will have consequence. And that only makes you accountable, that if I miss those two things in the project, the consequence will come. I will be held responsible for the delay of the project, or I will have to maybe work overtime to take care of those two things that I've missed. So the consequence will come. It's not that the consequence will not come. The whole point is these consequences will not affect me. They will not penetrate me. I will not feel the suffering that, okay, now I have to put in 3 hours of work extra every day for one more week. I will be okay doing that. I will not be cribbing with that. I'll know that, okay, this has been missed, and I will need to do this. That's a part of my responsibility. So let me just do it. The problem, you start suffering when you start cribbing about it. How do I manage? My entire schedule has gone for a toss. I'm not able to give time to the family. My child is crying. I'm feeling so restless. My body is aching. And so even those 3 hours is not given properly. So possibly the job that would have been done in 15 hours will now take 25 hours because I'm not totally focused. Now, when it comes to these politicians, Ashwini, one, their intention already is not a genuine one. They're not doing anything with the perspective of I am not the doer. They are very much the actor, no? So they got to get the consequences. The consequences will surely come. As we said, that, you know, if I slap somebody, there is a good possibility that I will get the slap back. The person will slap me back. I'm not at all saying that I may not get the slap back, but I'm saying that if I slapped somebody and I realize that I shouldn't have done it, or now that I've done it, it's okay, let me move on. Maybe I could say sorry or something, whatever, apologize in a way. And if that person is really angry, will slap me back, and I'll say it's okay, that had to happen. Yeah, that person is not able to reconcile with it. It's okay. Let me move on. Now it's done. Will that slap come onto my heart? Mujhe mara, teri ye himmat. And you will not pull that like that. You know, it will be easy to get over. So, for example, take another situation. Imagine you are driving and you have reached to some hilly areas, and now your car has come onto a bridge, and the bridge is only one-way bridge. So there is a car from the front, and here is your car. Now you both are standing looking at each other. Who is going to pull back? The moment you get stuck, I will not pull back. Why don't you pull back? I came on this bridge before you. Neither can you go, nor can that person go. But the moment you become easy, you said, okay, I'll pull back, you go, and then I'll go. It's hardly 5 minutes, and you are also able to go, and that person is also able to go. And there is no load. But you stand there, I will not move. And now see all that happens in your mind. How you suffer. And all the thoughts that comes to your mind about the situation, about the person, about who you are. See how it all comes. The ego will only get strengthened, even stronger. So it's about unburdening yourself. More the unburdening, lesser is the burden of karma also. So this is a very complicated thing. It's very difficult to even understand what is this soul that we talk of, who takes birth, when there is this Atman, and then there is shared destiny also. There is shared karma. It is not that everything that has come to me, it is because I have done it. But maybe because something wrong happened, I did not stand against it, which was the right action then. I choose to go through the suffering, even without really doing the action. So there are so many probabilities. There are so many and I've seen various people approaching this topic with various perspective. So then I come back to where I am. That is about what am I doing right now? Because that only can help me liberate. I do not know who I was in what is called as past life, or if there will be some future life, and how it all will be, and what will I choose. The only thing that I can do is I can live this life consciously with more awareness. And yes, this is something that I definitely know, and that is the quality of your death does define how is this entire journey going to progress. And the quality of death is directly proportional to the quality of your life. So if you are not used to surrender, if you do not know surrender, if you do not know unburdening, then even while those moments of death will happen, you will not be able to surrender. You will still be wanting to hold life. And the way then the exit will happen, it is going to determine how things are going to go ahead.
Yeah, I said na, the art of living is more important than art of living. Let's learn the art of living.
Art of living is totally dependent on art of living.
Right.
So become conscious of how are you living. Then living will be taken care of. You will be able to say Ram when you die, or Prabhu when you die, or whatever when you die, only when it is a part of your being, because you will not be able to consciously manipulate anything at those moments. Now, I cannot vouch for it, but Sadhguru puts it in a very interesting way. What he says is, you know how the moment of death is for most of us. It is like you go into a cinema hall and you watch the entire cinema, and you totally get involved into all the sufferings and all the pleasures, and you feel good and you feel bad. Or no, sorry. What he says is, you get into the cinema hall, you take your seat, and now that the cinema has begun, you are asleep. You have slept. And your sleep is broken. You get up at the last moment. Everybody else is clapping. Wow. And you are, what has happened? I slept. So can you imagine what kind of bewilderment is there? I slept. I don't know what has happened. And all of a sudden you are aware that you were in a theater to watch the film, but you slept. So the entire life of ours goes unconscious. And at the moment of death, all of a sudden you wake up that, oh my God, I had come here to do something else. Now I can't do anything because the time is gone. That's how he puts it across. I like the analogy. That's all. But yes, there definitely is the fact that we mostly live an unconscious life. And that will hurt. That will hurt. A conscious living even ensures a beautiful old age. Krishnamurti had cancer. He died at the age of 91. And during his last years, I think when he was 90, People still used to say that the way he walks, the speed with which he walks, people have to run to catch him. And there is a very famous picture of him which is called as the comet picture. He is walking so fast that because of the air that's coming from the front, his hair has created the comic tail-like figure of the comet. That's the brilliance of living rightly. Maharshi Raman died of cancer.
What is what is the, like many people explain this, how do you explain this, like all the great masters, those who have such a lot of knowledge and all, but still they have that body pain, cancer and all the
Komalji,
dangerous.
body is a mechanical thing. Body will play its own game. You know, body is composed of those 5 elements, plus it has got
But
the,
it is said na, that your mental only comes on to your physical.
when you took birth with certain vrittis. Your body was formed during certain moments because of which you picked up whichever doshas, as Ayurveda explains, that you have is prominent in you, and you also picked up the vrittis that is prominent in you. It is your choice to keep carrying all that throughout your life and die like that. The body has its mechanism to work. Your heart will work in certain way even if you're evolved, and even if you're not evolved. Your intestines will function in certain way, whichever stage of life you are in. The way you treat it, it will respond. So the body will do its work. So if your body has attracted cancers for whatever reason, it will attract. It's okay. The body is extension of your mind, no doubt about it. All the disease that we get, most of them first manifest because of your thinking pattern, because of the stress, anxiety, all that you take.
Yeah.
Yet there is a portion which is independent of that, because the body has its own mechanism. So how is the play of those 5 elements in your body? Are the Vata, Kapha, Pitta in the balanced state? If any of those is aggravated, your body will experience all that. Are the Sattvic, Tamasic and Rajasic Tattva in a balance in you? No. So you will go through all that. So that's where Krishna says that you have to be gunatit. That does not mean the gun will stop operating in you. That simply means that you have moved beyond it. So the gun is playing its role. You are not involved in that. And hence you are not impacted by that. Tamas, if you have tamasic tendencies, that will still come to play. But do you get attached to that? Or do you say, it's okay, tamas is playing its role, let me play my role? So I have to do this a lot of time. My body is a kapha prakriti body, and kapha prakriti comes with inherent tamasic pravritti. It feels lazy. The body does not support. Getting up in the morning is a Herculean task for me. It demands more sleep. And then I have to direct, stop doing all this nonsense. And otherwise, I'm going to continue with what I have to do. You continue with what you have to do. I'm not going to listen to you. And a lot of times, body listens to what I say. I get up in the morning because only I instruct it. I'm not going to listen to you. So stop playing. Your watchfulness has a beautiful power to impact your energies. The question is, are you watchful?
That's what the question is. Weren't they watchful? Like those people who...
No, it's not about them watchful. They disconnected so much from the body that they will not even interfere in the think process of the body.
Yeah, it is you can say it's a different level altogether.
Why should I interfere with the process of the body? Let the body do its work. ये सारा मन शरीर विज्ञान वो ही सब लेवल पे चलता रहता है, जहां हम लोग एनर्जी वो सब करते रहते हैं. ठीक है, वो है. I'm not refuting that. But when you look forward the whole game is about going beyond. That's the whole game. So where should the consciousness lie? In just handling all these things? So, I am a finicky about what I eat in terms of, I'm little specific about my diet. So even if the entire house is eating roti sabzi at 10 o'clock, I'll have dinner by 7. So they do. But then it is also because my gut health is taken care of. Otherwise, my gut health disturbs me mentally throughout the day. So I figured out that this is impacting my gut health. So let me just figure out what can I do so that it does not trouble me throughout the day. Otherwise, the entire day, the body keeps doing drama. So at my level, fine, I handled body in certain way so that it does not come and disturb me. But does that mean body will stop disturbing me totally? It will not. So then what do I do? I never take pills for headaches. Never. Even if it would be creating pain for 24 hours, let it do it. Let the headache do its work. I can't take pills for headache. I will not give this signal to this that, hey, I'm going to give you so much of attention that even for this, I'm going to pop up pills. And there are certain things wherein I do pop up pills. So what? Should I get so attached to it? Yes, I'm not popping up pills. And here I'm popping up pills. I am the one who does not pop up pills. And then how can I pop up pills? Oh, come on. It's okay. No, whatever you are doing will have consequences. If I do not pop up pill, it will have consequences. If I pop up pills, it will have consequences. You cannot get rid of consequences. All that you can get rid of is that karta bhav who is standing, oh shit, this has happened to me. I popped a pill, no, that's why this is happening to me. When I was young, I had this disease and the doctors gave me steroids and that has got me diabetes now. I'm cribbing with diabetes now. You just do the necessary thing to manage it and move ahead. This moving ahead is a big challenge, and this is also the one that liberates us. That's why it becomes important of at least all that we are absorbing, because all that we absorb is all that comes out as reactions. They are creating samskaras in us. They are creating those imprints in us. They are creating those mental patterns in us. And when you allow mental patterns to happen, then it will start asking for expression and it will come out as reactions. That's why please absorb less. Know what to absorb and what not to. And keep moving in the direction wherein your absorption is decreasing and decreasing and decreasing and decreasing. At least this much is doable, isn't it? And then when you will start tasting that unburdening, that liberation, no? You would yourself know. You just need to taste that.
Love that part.
Yeah, just taste that. And then you see how it happens. The rest will be taken care of. You just take that first step.
And that difference you can find out when you see the people around so much caught up, then you say you are really okay, you are less caught up.
And even if you do not see people around caught up, that is also okay. How does that matter? How does that matter? Why do I need to see people around me caught up?
No,
Hey,
it just
there you
happens
go.
like when people are there and you notice it. And then you notice, okay, you are less caught up. Okay, let me keep moving.
Okay. That's a stage you will get over. To come to a stage wherein you are not judging, you are not labeling,
Right.
is a very important stage.
Not labeling, judging, it's
No,
just noticing, you can say.
It's okay. That's okay. Because mind loves doing that. That's that's one way that ego gets fed. You know, that's
Yeah,
the
that is also a kind of ego.
khurak of the ego.
Sometimes. Yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
khurak of the ego. These are the things on which ego thrives. So how are you allowing it to thrive? That's the question.
Right.
Yes. Okay, so it's already 9 o'clock. I think this has helped in certain way.
Yeah,
Each one
sure.
of us.
Thank you.
Anything that anybody wants to say, add, question?
Just one example, which has, like I was discussing with you also in recently it happened. So it may help to understand it and just strengthen what you said. Like the other day, as I told you, I just came home from my workplace and my son was having food and he started, like there was some misunderstanding about my arrangements in the morning and he was saying, what we discussed, you were saying I take leave because I'm not well, this and that, like he was shouting for something. And then I got a little hurt. It's not my mistake. It was my mistake. So I thought it's not my mistake. According to him, it was my mistake. So we just didn't talk for some time. And then he went away. I was crying a little bit also. Why is not a... Then I left it. I wrote one message and he also replied back, I don't want to talk it right now. Okay. He doesn't want to talk it right now. Let me also leave it. Give it a space and all. Let me move away from that. I'm a mom. He has shouted at me. It's okay. Leave it. Na chhod do. Just move ahead. Sometimes what happens, Richa, is when you don't react also and you leave it also, people take it for granted sometimes. Sometimes you need to make them realize also the clear out the misunderstandings. Na? So if it doesn't happen, then also sometimes you need to take that responsibility that you should understand the thing and you should be ready to talk. But giving that space, okay, I wanted to give that space and I'm thinking, let me leave it and move out of that karta bhav, that I did it or he did it. Chhod do usko. Jo ho gaya. Like you said, ki unburdening. Okay.
Do whatever is needed, Komalji.
If
it is need, if the need is to talk, if the need is to shout, if the need is to scold, if the need is to slap, if the need is to just have conversation, have it. If the need is not to talk, don't do it. Just be conscious, which space are you operating from?
You're right. Inside you should not, that irritation and grudge and that should not be there.
Operating from, मैं उसकी माँ हूँ यार, मुझे ऐसे कैसे बोल दिया, उसको छोड़ दो. There is a problem. There is a problem. If you are operating from, आजकल के बच्चे, look, they take you for granted like this. इनके लिए कितना भी करो कम है. They do not count all that. There is a problem.
Right.
Yeah? Check the space that you are coming from.
But whatever action needs to be taken, and we need to take that.
Action is never important. Where from it is coming.
It is coming. Right. Yeah, that's.
Remember this always.
Yeah. Where is it coming
from? The same action, when done from a different center, has a beautiful result or expression.
Right.
But not done from the right space, the expression is very ugly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else wants to say anything? No?
No, thank you.
Richa, can I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So just a very small observation, but I am in my 50s now, and I feel like the world that I grew up in was far simpler. And I feel that in the world that we live in today, especially, I feel in the areas of work, people in professions and businesses, I think the burdens on people in that area are just, sometimes I feel they're terrible. You know, I think the demand for everyone to be perfect and everyone to achieve a certain standing and status, and the demand that everyone is everyone is a genius. We are told this again and again and again by everyone, that you can do anything you want. And I feel that it just constantly is only driving into our brains, our hearts, our minds, our bodies are being programmed to do. And I keep seeing this, we have become human doings and we have forgotten how to be human beings. And our very nature is to be and to not take on so much doing. And I feel that this has always been there, but I feel that now, right now, in the times that we live in now, it has become a terribly confusing and burdensome situation. And I actually kind of feel upset about it. I kind of stay awake at night thinking about all the people and all the jobs who are, just struggling under this burden of having to perform. And it's all just at the end, I feel like, what is it towards? What are you doing out of this? Do you have peace of mind? And I'm also part of that rat race, no? I'm also like so I mean, how? And I know I'm different. Like somebody else says, this may be giving joy to someone to be like this, to be so purposeful all the time. But to me, I feel that it's robbing me of peace. And I don't know how many other people suffer like this. And my heart just goes out to them. And I sometimes find it hard to kind of, I love listening to all of this. I love understanding and exploring this, but I find it hard to reconcile the world that we live in and, how I intellectualize all of this stuff. So maybe just a few words to shed light on that kind of a dilemma.
My master says, everything is always all right. The way it is supposed to be like that only. Keep playing your role, keep playing your part, be conscious. Your being will have the quality, or you will get inspired in someday. I never thought I'll start these sessions, I was pushed through by a friend in the pandemic. Why don't you do this? I said, no, I'm not even confident enough to do all this. I don't think I can do it. Yeah, I'm so this, even not this. She said, still, it's okay even if you think you know less. You think of those who possibly know even lesser, and that is enough. So that's how it all started. Your being talks a lot, and those who choose, who at least agree to start living a conscious life, they will get drawn towards this. Yes, the world is a very doing place, and a lot of it is attributed to the Western culture that we are picking up so fast. Everybody finally does know what peace of mind is, It may not be very vocal, very open, expressive, but we all inside know that there is something which is wrong. Yes, many times the dose of do is so high that we don't even feel the need of staying in peace. So that's all right. Maybe your time has not yet come. Suffering is a great way that your time starts to happen. Rumi says that wound is the place where the light enters from. That's how it is for most of us. We do not turn to God or to the infinite or whatever when we are very happy, when things are good. We turn to it when things are miserable. A few will get into blame game. A few will get into God, why me? A few will go and try themselves, get fixed through astrology, etc., etc. Very few will go ahead to question what's wrong. Is there anything wrong in my entire pursuit? And those who ask this question start getting the answer. But the point is, just pray that everybody gets that suffering so that they start getting oriented towards this.
Yeah, the wound is the place where the light enters last.
Because that's how it is. We are, it is, we have that story, in Bhagat Singh ne parliament mein bum phoda tha. Back then, Britishers ke parliament isme bum phoda tha. So it is because वो इतने बहरे हो गए हैं कि हल्की आवाज उनको सुनाई नहीं दे रही है, उनको जोर की आवाज चाहिए. So it's like that in life. जो थोड़ी थोड़ी इंसिडेंट्स होते हैं जो हमको बताते हैं कि बच्चे संभल जाओ, वो हमको दिखते ही नहीं, हम उनको डिसमिस कर देते हैं, अरे ये क्या था, तो ठीक है हुआ, चलो आगे बढ़ो। तो फिर कुछ बड़ा धमाका होता है, फिर किसी को हार्ट अटैक आता है, किसी को एंजाइटी स्ट्रेस आ जाता है, स्ट्रोक्स आ जाता है, मिड लाइफ क्राइसिस हो जाता है, किसी की अच्छी खासी नौकरी छूट जाती है, कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा टेरिबल हो जाता है कि अचानक से आप बिल्कुल आ जाते हैं वहां पे कि मैं इतने समय से कर क्या रहा था, इतने समय से मैं कर क्या रही थी, क्योंकि हमारा पूरा गेम जो है ना वो गड़बड़ चलता है। सो गेम क्यों गड़बड़ चलता है कि मजे का टेस्ट तो सब कुछ है, और when you question why am I doing whatever I'm doing and you peel off the layers, why are you working? I'm working to earn money. Why do you want money? I want money because I want to buy some comfort. Why do you need comfort? Because यार मेरे को वो रोज का चिक चिक नहीं पसंद है कि ये नहीं है वो नहीं है, damn it, I need some quality of life, no? Why do you need to have that quality of life? Why don't you like that chick chick? यार थोड़ा तो आराम से रहने दो. It will all come down to peace of mind. उसके नीचे पीस ऑफ माइंड क्यों चाहिए, इसका आंसर मिलेगा ही नहीं. So that's one space that we all know that whatever we are doing, it is for peace of mind. अब ये अलग बात है कि लोगों ने पीस ऑफ माइंड को कनोट अलग तरीके से कर दिया, गड़बड़ तरीके से कर दिया. किसी को लगता है पावर में पीस ऑफ माइंड है, किसी को लगता है मनी में पीस ऑफ माइंड है, किसी को लगता है ओह आई एम सच अ चैरिटेबल पर्सन, उसमें पीस ऑफ माइंड है. सो पीपल हैव डिफरेंट वेज ऑफ टेलिंग दैट दे हैव पीस ऑफ माइंड. पर अगर पीस ऑफ माइंड वाकई होता ना तो वो थोड़े सेटल्ड हो जाते, जिंदगी में भागा दौड़ी कम हो जाती, यहाँ पे खटपट कम हो जाती, रिलेशनशिप्स मच बेटर होते, you would find them happy most of the time and not cribbing about things. लेकिन किसी से मिलो ना, क्रिबिंग देखो, या तो वो अपनी गुणगान करने में निकलते हैं या तो क्रिबिंग करने में निकलते हैं. इन दोनों के अलावा कुछ होता ही नहीं. मैंने ये किया, मैंने वो किया, मैंने ऐसा सेमिनार किया, मैंने इतने लोगों को ट्रेन किया, मैंने इतने लोगों को इम्पैक्ट किया. और दूसरा, यार मेरा तो बॉस ऐसा है, मेरी तो वाइफ ऐसी है, मेरे तो बच्चे खून पीते हैं. इधर वे सेंटर इज मी, मेरे साथ ये हो रहा है, ये मी नहीं बदलता है ना. ये सब डिस्कशन कितना इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. एक बात आपको कही जाएगी और आप जस्टिफिकेशन देने के लिए मरोगे, नहीं मैंने ऐसा इसलिए किए क्या. अरे चुपचाप ले नहीं सकते हो. You know, when I do training sessions, the formal training sessions, because I'm engaged with a few organizations, feedback के पहले ना बोलना पड़ता है. Please understand, these feedbacks are like marriage gifts. आप सारे मैरिज गिफ्ट को यूटिलाइज तो कर नहीं लेते हो, खोल के अपने घर में सजा तो नहीं लेते हो, कुछ को आगे बढ़ा देते हो, कुछ को फेंक ही देते हो, कुछ को ले लेते हो. So please treat these feedback as the marriage gift. What resonates with you, take it. What does not, let it be. You do not have to give any justification कि आपने क्यों किया, कैसे किया. But the feedback is coming because things were perceived like that. So if at all you are wondering why was I perceived like that and what should I change so that I should not be perceived like that, then you work with the feedback. That is a choice. बस प्लीज डू नॉट कम विद जस्टिफिकेशन, क्योंकि एक सिंगल लाइन फीडबैक के पीछे 15 मिनट का जस्टिफिकेशन चला जाता है और टाइम खराब हो जाता है. और ऐसे अगर मेरे 20 पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे तो मेरा पूरा दिन फीडबैक में ही जाएगा. So I have to tell this to them. And उसके बाद भी there are few people, you know, I did this because I said, no, it's okay. It's a feedback. Please take it as a marriage gift. Keep it aside if you do not like. That's all. वो रिमाइंडर देना पड़ता है. We are so obsessed, हर जगह हम कूद जाते हैं जस्टिफिकेशन के लिए, तो पीस ऑफ माइंड तो होता ही नहीं. पीस ऑफ माइंड ऐसी कोई चीज हमारे लिए एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती है, बट वी हैव द टेस्ट एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी आर ऑलवेज क्रेविंग फॉर दैट. I just hope someday they get oriented to the right direction. And as my master says, you know, you are at a space wherein you are not in peace. You are aiming for something because that will give you peace. With this state of mind, which is not peaceful, how can you even find something that will give you peace? Is your entire approach not incorrect? So you need to first check, how do I be peaceful? And then from that state of mind, whatever you do, that is going to be beautiful. Where it is all emerging from is an important thing. Yeah. So pray, and your being has a lot to talk of, and bring people to the sessions. Yeah, make them at least
Help
the
them
open
out by
sessions.
this
Yeah,
way.
the open sessions are for everybody to the whatever extent.
Actually,
can
now
give
what
guidance.
I would like to say one thing, bring people to the sessions. I tried in the beginning, but here we get so much deep and we talk so much, it goes above head. Some people, उनको समझ में ही नहीं आता हो क्या रहा है यहाँ पर.
Do not judge for others. All that you need to do is that, yes, I am part of this session. This is open. If you want, you would like to come and see, join in.
They
come
came
and
and they
see.
left. Like in
It's
the
okay.
beginning.
That's okay. That's okay.
Actually,
You know, the way
na,
I
easy way
say that-
out where I don't have to understand anything. Somebody will do something for me. That's okay for me.
I
I'm
say
at
this
my own
to my
space.
friends, that for every kind of book, there is an audience.
Yeah.
Similarly, for every kind of discussion, discourses, whatever, you have those kind of audience. More mature people will find out some more way. They will not stick with me. And less mature people will also not stick with me. We all are on a
Yeah,
journey.
you have
So
every
depending
kind of
upon
people for
where
all
we
kind of
are,
sessions. That's
हमारी
true.
पात्रता जो है, हमको वैसे लोग मिल जाएंगे support करने के लिए.
मिल जाएंगे.
That's all. Be happy if you are being supported, and if somebody comes to you, wonderful. It's okay.
Yeah, sure.
You know, my master says,
Yeah.
we used to say this. How do I know that if this person is deserving of that? No, and I am also, I haven't myself not reached that level. फिर मैं बोलूं तो लगता है कि यार अभी मेरा तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं, मैं उसको बोल रही हूँ. लेकिन वो कृष्ण का काम ना कृष्ण को करने दो. तुम बस अपना काम करो और आगे बढ़ो. Don't try to dictate कि कृष्ण के पास कौन जाएगा. तुम्हारा बताना काम है कि कृष्ण एग्जिस्ट करते हैं. बस do that job and let it be. So it's like that. Okay, so let's do the prarthana, and I will also come back to you all, because I want to change the date from Thursday, shift it to some other day, maybe Friday, and that's all right. Yeah, we can look at that. So I'll come back to you all with that, because there is some engagement on Thursday that's happening for me. Now that's every Thursday, so I'll have to miss that every time. Okay, so sit straight. Close your eyes. If you know it, you can say it along with me. Otherwise, it just can be. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you so much.
See you next